Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a video covering the Monster Hunter Earn Up for 2024, which is the Halloween Earn Up, which you can earn one of 8 Halloween vehicles. And the public service announcement for this Earn Up is that, yes, you can only earn one, as always with the Monster Hunter Earn Up, and once you pick a tank, say you get to Monster Hunter 4, and the Bellerophon and the Dragon Type 62 become available, and you think, yeah, okay, I'm picking the Bellerophon. Once you pick the Bellerophon, the whole op ends, and that's the same for if you pick any of the tanks. You can only pick one, and once you've picked a vehicle, the whole earn op ends, and you will not be able to earn any more of the rewards from the further hunter challenges, essentially. So you won't be able to earn like the 2 tank war chests there, for example, if you pick the Bellerophon. So that's the public service announcement, is that, yes, if you pick a tank, it will completely end the op. So don't pick until you've completed the earn up, okay? If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, in this video, we will cover the entirety of the earn up, what you can earn, what it will then progress into, and then I will show some replays in each of the 8 tanks that you could pick and earn one of. And then, you know, so you get to see what your choices are. So yeah, the Monster Hunter Earn Up, it is going off from the 15th of October, which was the Tuesday just gone, to the 5th of November. So you've got about 3 weeks to do it. It is active a week before the Monster Mash Monster Mash mode, so that you have a chance to earn a monster tank for the mode. As always, there's the Challenge Monster Hunter, there's the Monster Hunters Unleashed, and then you get the 2x Commander XP bonus as well for completing all of it. And you got the Monster Hunter. So destroy 1 or more vehicles in a battle, so you only get 1 point for that, and that will give you a point. If you then earn 1,000 or more XP in any number of battles, you can then get another point. So you can earn more than 1 point per battle with this. So for every 1,000, I think it's for every 1,000 XP that you will then get a point. So you could get quite a lot of points for doing this. And that is the best way of getting your points, is to play basically, the better you play, the more points you're going to earn, the quicker you're going to finish this earn up. And just for destroying 1 tank in a battle, you will get 1 point guaranteed. So that's a nice thing for you. And the bonus way to earn a point is to play one of the monster vehicles from the previous Monster Hunter events, and you'll get a point. And it's to deal 1,000 damage. Now, it doesn't say that this one's limited or you can earn more points, so I'm not sure if it's for every 1,000 damage you can actually earn another monster point. It might be the case, I don't know, it doesn't say it. But, hey, you know, more choices. If you want to finish this up and get one of the newer monster tanks that you want, play your monster vehicles from the previous earn-ups. So, this year, you will only be able to earn one of 8 of the vehicles. Previous years, you've been able to earn all of the previous monster tanks. For some reason, well, they say they've limited it because of the fact that there are so many now that it would just extend the op to being extremely long. So they've limited it down to 8. I think it's a little bit sad that it's down to 8, because I know there'll be some people. I've had it with. I released a video on the Arachnid a couple of weeks ago, probably a month or 2 ago now at this point, and there were people who are saying they're looking forward to picking it up, and sadly, it's not in it. You know, so these tanks have been removed from the challenge for 2024, which is the Kaiju, the Lycan, the Craft Panther, the Gorin HKV5, the Creature, the Bog Horror, the Roswell, and the Arachnid. The Roswell was never going to be in this anyway because it was part of the contract, so you can't earn one of these tanks. So if you were looking forward to picking up one of these tanks, I'm sorry, but it's not going to be this time. You'll have to wait till next year or buy it from the store. So, but fear not, if you don't own any of these, you'll still be able to play them in Monster Mash. So yeah, if you already own the tank, you will still be able to play it in the Monster Mash mode. And the important notes for this earn up is you can claim only 1 monster tank through the Monster Hunter Challenge, so choose wisely. So remember, it's 1, you can only pick 1. Once you claim a tank, you will not be able to progress through the challenge any further. So if you hit Monster Hunter 4, where the Bellerophon is, you will not be able to, and you pick the Bellerophon, you will not be able to earn any of the other rewards from any of the other Monster Hunter challenges, okay? So bear that in mind, that once you've picked one, it will completely end it. So make sure you finish the op before you choose a tank. Claiming a tank you already own will reward you with the tank's value in silver. You will receive your Celebrations emblem once you claim your monster tank. And earn though the restrictions below state multiplayer or co-op only, you will be able to complete the Monster Hunter standard point earn goals in Monster Mash as well, which is cool. So if you haven't managed to finish the op yet by the time Monster Mash comes, and you want to just play away in Monster Mash, you can still earn some points that way, which is quite cool. So at Monster Hunter 1, you will be able to earn, at 10 points, some pumpkin patch for your garage. At Monster Hunter 2, for 100,000 silver, you will be able to get that for 25 points. At 50 points, you will get 1.5 times silver boosters. At 100 points, this is where you'll be able to choose one of your first 2 tanks if you want. And remember, do not pick it immediately. Wait till you finish the op. And you'll be able to choose from the Bellerophon or the Dragon Type 62. At Monster Hunter 5, for 125 points, you'll be able to get a tank war chest. At Monster Hunter 6, for 150 points, you will get 4 times Commander XP boosters. At Monster Hunter 7, for 175 points, you will get pumpkin emblems. At 250 points at Monster Hunter 8, you'll be able to then pick your next set of tanks, or pick a tank from the next set, which is the Hollenhund or the Death Chariot. At Earn 275 points, you will get the Van Helsing emblem at Monster Hunter 9. At Monster Hunter 10, for 300 points, you will get 2 tank war chests. At Monster Hunter 11, for Earn 375 points, you will be able to pick from the Wraith or the Inferno Chimera. Once again, do not pick it until you finish the op. At Monster Hunter 12, for 400 points, you will get the Grim Reaper emblem. At Monster Hunter 13, for 550 points, this is the last one for the Monster Hunter, and you will be able to pick from either the Asterion or the Pharaoh's Fury Ramses II, which was the tank from last year's Monster Hunter, the new vehicle, that is, and you'll be able to pick from one of those 2 vehicles there as well. And like I say, for this Monster Hunter Earn Up video, I will have a replay on every single tank in this section of the video, and I will have, in the coming days and weeks as well, a video on every single monster tank to come out as well, so they'll have their own individual video going over that tank. The replays at the end of this video will be just to show them off and let you see what you can pick from. So once you've completed the Monster Hunter op and you've picked one tank from the Earn Op, you will be able to go to the Challenge Monsters Unleashed, which for earning 10,000 XP, you'll get 50,000 silver. For 20,000 XP, you'll get 100,000 silver and a Winged Skull emblem. At 30,000 XP, you will get some consumables. At 40,000 XP at Monsters Unleashed 4, you will get 50,000 silver, some Commander boosters, and Blood Hunger emblems. At Monster Hunter 5, for 50,000 points, you will get 3 times Vehicle XP boosters, some 2 times silver boosters, and 100,000 silver. And the Monster Tanks 2 times Commander bonus. Even more treats await you. Battling your Monster Tanks will earn you twice the Commander XP from 15th of October through to November 4th. Whether you got your tank this year or any year before, via the store or the Monster Hunter Challenge, the 2 times Commander XP bonus is active on any monster tank in any multiplayer, co-op or Monster Mash battle, as long as it's Halloween on our battlefields. Activate a Commander XP booster and you'll earn even more Commander XP. So basically, if you play any of the monster tanks from any of the years that you own, you will be able to earn double XP for your commanders in those tanks, which is a nice bonus, and that means that they are going to be super crew trainers for the next couple of weeks, which is also great. So yeah, that's the Monster Hunter Earn Up. Those are the tanks that you can earn, those 8, so you can earn one of either the Bellerophon, the Dragon Type 62, either the Hollenhund Death Chariot, the Wraith Panzer 58 Mutts, the Inferno Chimera, or the Asterion, or the Pharaoh's Fury Ramses II. Out of these tanks, which ones would I pick? Well, one of them would be the Pharaoh's Fury, because even though the gun is very troll and it's really annoying, it is a very good silver earner, and as it is an Era 2 Premium, it is, again, a very nice silver earner. So if you want a good free silver earner, the Pharaoh's Fury is always one that's pretty good to pick up, and it's a pretty decent tank in all as well. And if you're World War II, you can't really go wrong with some of the tanks that are in World War II. I mean, the Hollenhund is a fantastic light tank. You can have a lot of fun with it. The Bellerophon is, for me, it's fairly boring, but it's a very good tier 8 medium tank where you go hull down and it's just consistent. Or you've got a tank like the Inferno, which is very derpy, but it slaps so satisfyingly with that gun. But what I'm going to do now is send you over to some replays where you can watch all 8 of those tanks in action, see a build for those vehicles as well. And then, like I say, in the next couple of days, weeks, we'll start where we'll have an individual video on all 8 of those vehicles, and then all of the other monster tanks as well, so that you can see what they're like if you feel like purchasing one of those from the store. So as always, everybody, what I'm going to do now is send you over to the replays where you can watch those tanks in action. So I will see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays, and as I said earlier, I'm going to have a video on all 8 of these tanks individually so that they get their own moment in the glorious sunshine, right? And then I'm going to have a video also on all the other monster tanks that aren't available to earn in this earn up as well, so you get to see what they're like and decide if you wanted to buy one of those, or maybe, you know, pick it up on next year's earn up, who knows. So we're starting off with the Dragon, and we are going to go in order of the Monster Hunter Challenge tanks, so Dragon, Bellerophon, Hollenhund, Death Chariot, Wraith, Inferno, Asterion, and Pharaoh's Fury, etc. So we're starting off with the Dragon Type 62. And the Dragon Type 62 is an okay tier 7 light tank. It's a little bit slow for a light tank at 60 kilometers an hour of top speed. You got 145 pen on the standard AP rounds, 220 penetration on the premium heat rounds, 793 meters per second shell velocity on those 2 rounds as well. Which, you do have a 2.7k DPM, which is really nice for a tier 7 light tank. But this gun can also be a bit troll, in the fact that the 793 meters per second shell velocity is quite slow, so you've really got to give a good amount of lead to hit those shots. You've got 180 alpha as well, which can be decent, but I say that it's one of those tanks that I'm not the biggest fans of at tier 7, as it is a bit troll with the gun. It's not the quickest in the universe. Your camo is 264 meters of still concealment, which is pretty good. You've got 499 meters of view range, which is also very good. It means you can spot quite well for yourself, but as soon as you get spotted, it's quite a difficult task to be able to get yourself out of dodge, because you aren't the quickest in the universe, and it is fairly easy for the enemy team to take you out. Also, this thing gets lit on fire all the time as well. As soon as you take a hit in the upper plate, generally it sets you on fire, which is pain. But if you get yourselves in situations like this against stuff like a Panther, you can have a good time, because the DPM at 2.7k is very, very nice, and 180 alpha for a light tank as well at this tier is also pretty good as well. It's just one of those tanks that I just don't click with. It's got 5 degrees of gun depression, which can be pain for spots like this, because it means you do have to overexpose yourself to be able to get shots at the enemy vehicles, which can just be very, very annoying at times in the Dragon. It's just one of those tanks. 145 pen is nice, especially for a light tank, but when you're against tier 8s and 9s, it really does start to struggle. 220 heat pen can go through a fair amount of those vehicles, though, but you just got to know which round you're taking for each of the targets you're facing. It's just that I think for me the killer for this tank is that 793 meters per second shell velocity. It just makes this gun feel so unwieldy at times that you're just like, oh, come on, gun, please, you know, as it misses all those shots. And you don't really have the alpha that stings too much either. But it can, like I say, at tier 7 it can be a pretty decent light tank. It's just one of those that's it's not really for me, you know. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old Dragon Type 62? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Muffled Shot, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. All 3 gun perks make the gun as good as possible, because like I say, it can be a bit of pain. The Camouflage Expertise and Muffled Shot to make the camo as good as possible and reduce the effect of firing on my camo. The Advanced Loader to get the DPM as good as possible. The Camo Net, again, to make the camo fantastic, because the camo is really good if you do set it up for it. And Optics to be able to get that 499 meters of view range. Now, you could run, if the gun does irritate you, you could run the gun stabilizer instead of the Camo Net, so that you get the best accuracy during movement and rotation you can, because the accuracy during rotation is 1.18 and the accuracy during movement is 2.22 with the build that I run, which is really quite poor, which means the aim circle does bloom out a lot, and with 2.12 second aim time you do feel that aim time with how much it does bloom out. So it's just something to bear in mind, that if you do want to make the gun better, run the gun stabilizer instead of the Camo Net. Or if you say, you know what, screw the DPM, I'm a light tank, I want to be spotting and I want to make the camo better, but if I am firing quicker, I want to make sure the gun's hitting more often, you could just drop the loader and run a gun stabilizer there and run gun stabilizer, optics, and the Camo Net, right? And it's down to you and how you feel comfortable playing a vehicle. It's down to you and how you want to also play the light tank, right? It's always down to your comfortability with the vehicle. So yeah, the Type 62, as you can see, it is quite awkward. It doesn't take a hit very well, and it is also exceptionally easy to paint. I mean, the rounding on the turret means you can ricochet shots off this turret front, but never rely on it. And because the turret is in the mid part of the tank, a lot of the time as well, if you're going to poke round corners, like you've just seen me poking quite aggressively against the KV2 and the Type, the T25/2, sorry, they will see your front end before you will see them, because the turret is in the mid part of the tank, which is a little bit bad times for you if you are pushing that aggressively against tanks like that. So as you can see on this game on Westfield, we're up to 2.7k damage with 1157 assistance. We're just trying to get some spots and shots on the guys on this side of the ridge for our team that are on the other side. We find the M56 Scorpion. I see the Dicamax, I'm like, oh boy, I'm dead. We get one shot into him, but we just can't get out of the way of the Dicamax. And sadly for us, we get finished off by that guy. And we finish the game with the victory. The 2 kills, 3070 damage, 1854 base XP there. A really nice game for the old Dragon Type 62. Crucial contribution as well. That's a good time. With the 1854 base XP. So we got, what, 4.8k combined. That's a really nice game there for the Dragon on Westfield, which is the perfect map for it. Good matchup. And yeah, the Dragon is one of those that I just feel it takes a lot to get the most out of it, and it's not the most enjoyable light tank in the universe for me. If I was to pick a light tank out of the Monster Hunter Ernop, for example, I would pick the Hollenhund, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Bulldogs, because they are big and easy to hit, and they always catch the shots, always. The Hollenhund is such a good light tank. It's more of a pseudo-medium than a light tank, that you can have a lot of fun with it. You can still scout with it, but you can also use the fantastic DPM on that vehicle. So if I was to pick a light tank, I would probably pick the Hollenhund for that reason. Also, it makes you more silver, naturally. But, yeah. We're on to the second replay, and the second replay is the Bellerophon, and the Bellerophon is the next tank, is one of the tanks that you can earn in Monster Hunter 4 with the Dragon. And the Bellerophon is one of those tanks that is a very good British medium tank. It is a Centurion Mark 5.1 RAAC, but with a load of spaced armor slapped all over the turret, which makes it even better, because that means that this tank can bounce so much hull down. And where certain tanks firing premium, which is like the tier 10s, would go through maybe your turret roof or your turret cheeks if you're not careful, the Bellerophon doesn't suffer that problem because you've got a big heap of spaced armor slapped over the turret front, which is a big asset for the vehicle, and it means that you can bounce a lot of shots with it, which is very, very good. And like I say, it is a very, very good tier 8 British medium tank, and you can earn it for free. That's fantastic. A lot of people will have it because I think it's been earned up before as well, not just in the Monster Hunter earn up, but in other ways as too. But it is good. The problem for it is it's boring. For me personally, it's a very boring tank. It's just, it is what it is. It's kind of like the Super Conqueror in a way, or the Valor Chieftain thing, in that you just go to a position, get a hull down, and that's that. And that's the tank, pretty much. And it's got low alpha, which fires quite quickly, but it's just, yeah, for me, it's not the most thrilling tank in the universe to play, right? I would much rather be in an Earthshaker, for example. I'd rather have that 390 alpha or the Hesh, you know, to go heshing with. Shock, I know, shock horror. But the Bellerophon is a damn good tank. You've got 226 penetration with 258 penetration on your premium APCR for 230 damage. You got 50 km/h top speed, 512 meters of view range with the build that I run, which is very, very good. You'll spot for yourself very, very well and be able to get good assistance damage with this vehicle, especially from aggressive hull down locations. You've got 355 meters of still concealment with this vehicle, which isn't the best, but you can knock it down a little bit better if you want to with the cruise skills. The accuracy is 0.27 at 100 meters, which is fantastic. The aim time is 2.12 seconds, which means that the gun does aim in pretty quickly. You do have accuracy during rotation of 0.95 and 1.98 accuracy during movement, which isn't very good, which means the aim circle does bloom out a fair bit if you come to a complete stop. You got 1,020 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP rounds, with a 1,275 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APCR rounds, which is average on the AP rounds and above average for the premium APCR, which are damn nice shell velocities. Like I say, this tank all round is a very, very nice tank. With that 50 km/h top speed, with an 18.22 horsepower per ton ratio, you will hit the top speed fairly quickly, and you will just glide about at 50 kilometers an hour. It's just one of those tanks that's just, it's just one of those tanks that does everything pretty decently, but not anything exceptionally well, except for this hull down capacity that you're seeing here. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment in the Bellerophon? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanic, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Camouflage Expertise, and then the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to get that fantastic 512 meters of view range, the Gun Stabilizer to get the accuracy during rotation and movement down as low as possible so this aim circle doesn't bloom out quite as much, the Advanced Loader to get that 2.5k DPM with the 5.47 second reload. All 3 gun perks again to help this gun out as much as I can do because it's one of the assets of the vehicle, with the Camouflage Expertise just to make sure that this camo is a little bit lower than the base camo because the base camo is pretty poor. So I'm just helping it out a little bit. You could quite easily run Rapid Aim on that crew though to make the turret traverse better, more than the 36, nearly 37 degrees a second it is currently. Or you could run any other perk really that makes it a little bit better for you. Like you could run Supply Conservation to get food back quicker. You could get Armour Angling to make sure that you take less damage when the hits do come in. It's down to you and how you feel comfortable with the vehicle. So, as you can see in this replay, we're against tier 10s, which is pretty poor matchmaking for us in the Bellerophon. We're up to 1174 damage with 3.2k assistance because we were spotting all the guys down the 2 line. We had to shoot Randy. It was a sad time, but he shot heat at us. What can we say? Like, we just had to shoot him. And we're up to 1406 damage now with that shot into the artillery. And their artillery's now looking at us. The first shot misses us, and it's like, oh, good gracious me, we're in a very poor place here. And we're just going to go try and get rid of Mr. Randy Duck in his T-57 Heavy, but he does end up getting shut down. And we're going to push him more aggressively to see if we can find the Badger or the artillery and get rid of them. So we see the T-92. We can't quite get the shot into the rear of him, though. And there's a 257. So we go for the lower plate of the 257 with premium because the standard 226 penetration is not really going to deal with the 257 too well. And 258 penetration on the premium APCR probably will do. We see the T-92 and it's like, oh boy, that T-92 is going to fire. But thankfully, he doesn't get the shot at us. The other artillery misses, so we're going to take the opportunity to bounce the 257 off our very good turret front and keep the shots going into this guy's lower plate. So, this is where the reload is quite nice. The gun handling on this vehicle is fantastic. It does hit most of the shots you want to take. And we're just trying to angle for better shot here again on that 257. And artillery penned us. That's the first time in a very long time that artillery has actually full penned me. That was one of the moments where I got penned by the arty and I went, oh, I've been penned by the M4355. That hasn't happened in ages. He hits for 1200 damage and he finishes off. Sad times for the Bellerophon. That was the counter to our hull down nature, but we finished the game with the victory. 1 kill, 2.3k damage, 4.4k assist. The first class with that 1800 base XP. A really nice game, you know, a pretty nice game there for the Bellerophon in a tier 10 game. Again, showed off what it can do, even facing against the tier 10s, stuff like that. When you go hull down, you will bounce a lot of shots off that turret, and it is very, very nice. It's just one of those tanks that's just, yeah, it's a really good tank all round. It's just a bit boring, you know? But we're on to the third replay. In the third replay, we're in the Hollenhund. And the Hollenhund M41 90mm is a damn solid tier 8 light tank. More of a pseudo-medium than a light tank because the two things that excel with this tank is the DPM and the gun. It is so, so nice. You are a very mobile platform for this 90mm gun. You've got 182 penetration on the standard AP with 250 heat pen, which means you'll go through pretty much every tank you're going to face. You've got 240 alpha on that with 320 on the HE, which has 102 penetration, which is very good HEP rounds, which are good for taking on light tanks. You've got 525 meters of view range with the build that I run, which means you are going to have very good spotting games if you put yourselves in spotting locations. You've got 72 km/h top speed, which with the buffs that they gave to the Hollenhund and the M4190 a wee while ago, means that you've got a 28.94 horsepower per ton ratio with a 680 horsepower engine, meaning you will get to the 72 km/h top speed very, very easily. That's one thing that the Hollenhund used to be. It used to be fairly sluggish in its mobility for the fact that you had this 3,100 nearly DPM, which is fantastic on this vehicle. It's fantastic for any tier 8 tank, to be fair. It used to be fairly sluggish, but not anymore. It is a fairly mobile bulldog with a very, very good gun, and you can have a lot of fun with this vehicle using the great DPM and the great gun. The thing that is fairly poor about this vehicle is the fact that it does have 830 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, with 773 meters a second shell velocity on the HE. It's the same on the heat, by the way, with the 830 meters a second shell velocity. So the shell velocity is very, very slow, meaning you have to give very good lead. It is way below average in that regard. You have 0.81 accuracy during rotation with the build that I run, with 1.57 accuracy during movement, which is, again, not the greatest because we are running stabs. But, again, it's decent enough that you don't actually feel the aim time that much. And especially since the aim time is 1.66 seconds with the build that I run, that is absolutely incredible and means that it aims in very, very fast. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old Hollenhund? Well, I run a fairly standard light tank crew, to be fair. A born leader, rapid reload, sixth sense, situational awareness, camouflage expertise, muffled shot, steady aim, snapshot, run and gun, with the advanced loader, the gun stabilizer, and optics. Optics to be able to get the view range as high as possible so that I can have those fantastic spotting games. Oof, what a shot. The fantastic spotting games, the gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible, and the advanced loader to have that fantastic 3000 DPM. All three gun perks again to make this gun as good as it can be, because it is a very derpy gun if you don't help it. And then the camouflage because, well, you are a light tank, so it's nice to get the camo down as low as you can. If you wanted to, you could quite easily run the camo net instead of the gun stabilizer, so that you get the camo down to 282 meters of still concealment. But just note that the gun handling then becomes very, very annoying. It was very, very annoying to me, and I decided I just wanted to help the gun handling out because the accuracy during rotation and movement go up quite high, meaning the aim circle just bloom out a lot. But it's down to you and how you want to feel comfortable playing the vehicle. So as you can see, this replay here in the Hollenhund, we're on Wide Park, which is a map that is not good for a light tank, but we are having a good time. We're up to 2.1k assistance with 3.4k damage, and that's because this kind of map, even on this kind of map, the Hollenhund can still have a good time, because you have that great DPM and that good gun. So if you then play more of a support role, like a support medium, you know, pseudo-medium, right, you will be able to put hurt into the enemy tanks and just keep the damage flowing. We're up to 3.7k damage with 2.5k assistance, and we're just playing distraction. We see that the KTTS is looking at us. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go around him, try and put a shot into his side, but the SU-130PM finishes him off, and we are going to now try and get the kill on the SU-130PM. In fact, did we detonate his ammo rack? I think we just ammo racked that guy. Well, we'll take it. And we finished the game with the epic victory. 2 kills, 4.3k damage, the 2058 base XP. A fantastic game there for the Hollenhund map that isn't really that well suited for it. And it's 6.5k combined. Ace tank at the high caliber Confederate and the Scout medal for that 2058 base XP. Like I say, if you're going to pick a light tank from this Ernop, I would fully pick the Hollenhund. It is a fantastic tank. Let's say the DPM, the gun handling is great. The one thing that you've got to expect from it is the same as any of the other Bulldogs, is that if you play it actively and you play it with that great top speed it's got, it will always catch shots. It is a rather fat light tank, and that means that it is exceptionally easy to hit, even when it's going full chat on the move. It's not like some of the other light tanks, meaning that if you are going to take hits, you just are going to take hits in it. So we're on to the fourth replay. And we're now on to the Death Chariot 112, which is a very, very hit and miss heavy tank. It just is. And the reason is, this gun, it slaps. It really slaps. 460 alpha on this gun is very, very nice. But it is exceptionally derpy. And a lot of the time, it decides when and where it wants to work. And this game, this replay is very indicative of what this gun can be like. You've got 208 penetration on the standard AP rounds with 250 heat pen. Now, the 208 penetration on the standard AP is pretty low, but 250 is pretty okay for what you're going to face. The problem is those rounds are also pretty derpy, because you've got 800 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP rounds with 640 penetration on, 640 meters a second shell velocity on the premium heat rounds, which again is very, very slow, and means that because of the trajectory of those heat rounds, they hit armor plates at weird angles at times because of how derpy they come out the gun, meaning that they will bounce shots that they probably look like they should have penned, unless you're point blank in someone's face. And it can be really, really annoying. And the AP round at 800 meters a second velocity is also very slow, meaning that you have to give a lot of lead to be able to hit targets. A lot of lead. As you're going to see, we're trying to shoot this Vanguard. That wasn't enough. You've got 0.34 accuracy at 100 meters, which is poor with the build that I run. 1.93 accuracy during movement and 0.78 accuracy during rotation, which together mean the gun blooms out quite a lot. And since you have a 2.76 second aim time, which is awful, it takes a long while to get this gun fully aimed in, which means that it just adds to the very, very derpy feeling of this vehicle. You got a 10.94 second reload as well with the build that I run, which is 2.5k DPM, which is also, that's alright. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just sort of okay. And it's, well, it's a balancing factor for the fact that you've got such good alpha at 460, right? But, yeah, it's sort of average. You got a 24.33 degree a second turret rotation speed with this vehicle, which is exceptionally slow. And add the fact that you've got a 24 degree a second hull rotation speed as well. It turns very, very slowly, and also it turns its turret very, very slowly. You got a 35 km/h top speed with a 12.61 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning that you will get towards that top speed, but just very, very slowly in the 112. It's not the most mobile heavy tank in the universe. And you've got 6 degrees of gun depression, which means it can be awkward in situations like you're seeing here, meaning you have to overexpose if you are on a ridgeline. The armour on the tank, if you were wondering, by the way, is the same as the preferential Tier 8 premium tank, the WZ... Sorry, not the WZ-111. The preferential premium Tier 8 heavy tank, the 112, which is what this tank is based on. The armour is exactly the same, which means that against Tier 8s, it's okay. But against Tier 9s and 10s, the armour does tend to get absolutely butchered, particularly the upper plate. As soon as they're firing premium rounds and firing like 270, 280 plus rounds, they tend to go through the upper plate quite easily, which is pain for the old Death Chariot and for the 112. But the 112 has the benefit of not seeing Tier 10 generally, and it sees a lot of top tier Tier 8 matches since it has preferential matchmaking, whereas this tank doesn't. This tank will see Tier 10s. We also have 486 meters view range with the Death Chariot, which is pretty good, which means that we are able to spot for ourselves, except for against the super stealthy tanks, like that RAAC that's in front of us there. We can't see that guy unless he fires, but yeah, we are a heavy tank, so it is what it is. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old Death Chariot? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, Rapid Aim. And the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to be able to get that view range so I'm not completely blind. Gun Stabilizer to be able to make this gun as good as possible because it is very, very derpy. And the Advanced Loader to make sure that I have a decent reload, at least, as it is fairly slow. All 3 gun perks again because this gun can be derpy. The Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, so that, again, because it is exceptionally slow, I can get somewhere near the tracks. And all the other perks you're generally going to run on most World War II vehicles. So as you can see in this replay, we're up to 2.1k damage with 213 assistance damage. And we're just trying to get shots into... The gun was working at the start. We've managed to hit a fair few shots. But now it's starting to derp a little bit and we're starting to feel that pain. I'm deciding to move up into the next dip so that I can get somewhere closer to the Hollenhund, limit the distance on our cannon since, you know, this 122mm gun loves missing. So I want to try and close the distance a bit. We get ourselves on the ridgeline. We see the Vanguard. Unfortunately, he just gets across. We see the Balsig in the distance. We get the gun on target. The whole tank was in the reticle, except for this tiny sliver over the right-hand side of the target, and it flew over it. That shot on the Balsig is indicative of this gun. It loves to miss if it can, and that is pure pain. But we do get a good shot there into the Hollenhund. We showed the lead that you have to give. You have to give a lot of lead to get that shot in, and we got rid of that Tier 8 German light tank. And we're just playing it careful because it is 6.5 at the minute, which means it is very close. We do finally get a shot into the RAAC. We got 460 alpha. We should have killed that RAAC, but we leave him on 18 HP, which is such a sad time because we got done by RNG there. Sadly, we didn't manage to kill him, which is just the way that the cookie crumbles. And he looks like he's trying to get round the side of us now. And this is where it can be painful for the Death Chariot because our turret traverse is just that slow. The Vanguard's done something silly. We go for the RBRT. We should have aimed it properly. We shouldn't have just gone for the RBRT. But sadly, we missed. The RAAC comes in now. He bounces one off our upper plate. Gets killed by the IC-152K from behind us. The Teeth Breaker now starts to come in to try and get shots at us, but he bounces a couple of shots. So we're just going to chase after him now and try and get him down to possibly within range of a one-shot. But he's not quite a one-shot anymore, but he is down to 481 hit points. And the M53-55 shuts us down, which is a sad time that we got finished off there by artillery, but finished with the victory. 2 kills, 3.2k damage, 213 assistance, 3.3k blocked with the 1436 base XP, which is a nice game for the Death Chariot. Like I say, the armor can work in a top tier matchup quite nicely, but as soon as you get in tier 9 and 10 games, it really does suffer, and it's really hard to hit the weak spots you want to try and hit as well with that gun, because that gun is just dreadful. So we're on to the 5th replay, and this 5th replay, we are now in the Panzer 58 Mutts, the Wraith. Now, the Wraith is different to the other Mutts that you might have earned in one of the past season earn-ups, and that's because it is slower. It goes at 44 kilometers an hour. But that's because it has a whole heap of spaced armor on it, which is very, very good against heat rounds and HE rounds. It will absorb quite a lot of heat rounds, and because of the way that the spaced armor is, you will also ricochet quite a few shells that you won't in the Mutts, which is quite nice. But for that spaced armor, you are heavier, which means you are slower at 44 kilometers an hour, and you have a worse horsepower per ton ratio. You have 13.44 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you are a little bit more sluggish. But this gun did get buffed on this vehicle, just like the Mutts, so you now have 300 alpha on this gun, which is fantastic. It's really nice on a medium tank, with 212 penetration on the standard AP rounds, 259 penetration on the premium APCR rounds, with 1,000 meters a second on that standard AP, which is average shell velocity. And 1250 is above average on that shell velocity and is pretty damn nice on the APCR. The penetration is again pretty good as well for the Wraith. It means that you again pen most tanks you're going to face tier 8, 9 or 10, which is pretty good. You got 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very nice, means you are very flexible on the ridgeline. You do have to be careful in the Wraith though, because the moment you look over the left and right of the tank, you can see where that spaced armor juts out over the side. You will lose a lot of that gun depression. So if you want to get the best out of your gun depression, you have to aim perfectly over the front of the vehicle. You got a 1.75 second aim time, which is fantastic on the Wraith. It means that this gun aims in very, very quickly. And you got a 0.86 accuracy during rotation and a 1.33 accuracy during movement with the build that I run, which means that your gun is pretty much always ready to go, which is very, very nice. And with a 0.27 accuracy at 100 meters as well, it means it's a fairly accurate gun. You got a 6.05 second reload, which is nearly 3k DPM, which is delightful in the Wraith. And having that 300 alpha as well with that 3k DPM is just so nice on this tank, same as it is on the Mutts. And you can have a really great time with this vehicle. You've got 486 meters of view range, which is decent enough to get good assistance damage with this vehicle. You've got that top speed. Like I say, the ground resistance is one thing to note, is the fact that they do not hold you back with your top speed whatsoever. It is purely down to your engine power. If you feel like the gun is good enough, you could quite easily run the powertrain instead, get better engine power, slightly better top speed, and you will probably be able to hit it if you do make that engine power better on this vehicle. You do have 311 meters of view range, 311 meters of still concealment, as well, which is pretty good for the Mutts. And if you wanted to help that and knock that down with a camo net, you could also get pretty damn good camo on it. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old Mutts? Well, the Wraith, as it is a different tank generally. I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun. The Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to get that 485 or 486 meters of view range, because if you don't help the view range on this tank, it is fairly mediocre. The Gun Stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as it is, so that the gun is always ready to snap. The Advanced Loader to get that near the 3k DPM. All three gun perks again to make sure that this gun is as ready to snap as possible. And the Camouflage Expertise and Silent Driving to make sure that you can get that really quite nice camouflage that you have on this vehicle. Like I say, if you feel like the gun is good enough, and with the aim time being as good as it is, you could quite happily get your camo down even lower with the camo net instead of the Gun Stabilizer, because the gun could still be pretty damn good. You just have to make sure that you give it an extra second to be able to aim shots in, which with the 1.77 second aim time, you will be able to do quite easily in the Wraith. So this game here on Nomini Nom in the Wraith, we're up to 3.4k damage or 2.9k assistance, and we've been put down to a one-shot by that Emil 2, which is basically the raid boss for us, because he can go hull down and just absolutely laugh at us, and there's not much we can do in that situation. He also can pen us quite easily too, which is what he's basically done. And we are just trying to find more shots on different tanks here on the enemy team, as they are all camping on this ridgeline. When you do get nom from our spawn, you always want to kind of get towards the ridgeline at D3 and D4, because you can spot all their tanks that are camping along the DE1 area, and all the people camping at F3 as well. And you can get a good amount of assistance damage like we have. And the Roswell ends up finishing off the T69 there, which gave me the opportunity to get the shot in to finish him off, and I see my death. That was the moment where I saw my death and went, oh, poo. And sadly, the Emil-2 managed to snap his shot on us and finish us off. But we finished the game with the 3 kills, 3.5k damage, 2.9k assist, the first class, the sniper medal, with that 1813 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the Wraith on Nom. I'd say it's a pretty damn good medium tank. It is just slow. It's just the fact that that 300 alpha is fantastic on that gun. That gun is delightful. But if you have a Mutz already, do you really need the Wraith? Probably not. But it is slightly different because you do have that extra armour. But the tanks like you saw with the Emil-2 that have that higher pen, like 240, 250 plus, don't really care about the armour. They'll still bounce. They'll still go through every time. It's just occasionally you can get some lovely little ricochets because of that spaced armour. But now we are on to the SIC 3 play, and this one we are in the Inferno Chimera. And the Inferno Chimera is a tank that I have always enjoyed. Now, it's a fairly difficult tank to get the best out of, and that is purely because this gun is atrocious, and you really have to know what you're doing to get the best out of the gun. But its mobility is alright at 50 kilometers an hour. Its armour is very, very nice on the turret, as the turret can bounce a lot of... It can bounce tier 10s quite easily as well on the Inferno Chimera, which is delightful. Oh, so hoping he'd run into me. But the gun hits like a truck. It's got 440 alpha, which on a medium tank is delightful. But you've got... For that, you have 202 penetration on the standard AP rounds, which also have 732 meters a second shell velocity, which means that they have fairly poor penetration at 202. They do struggle to pen a lot of targets, at tier 9 and 10 especially. And they are very slow, which means that you have to give a lot of lead to hit your shots, which is pure pain. But you do have the give in the fact that you can take time to aim at people, because you can ricochet shots, as you've just seen from the Wraith Panzer 4 firing premium at us. We bounced that quite easily. But the thing is, yeah, you have to give a lot of lead to hit your targets. We just bounced a Turan, by the way, as well. Just saying. But your 252 penetration in premium APCR is pretty nice, and you will pen a lot of the targets you're going to face with that. And you have 914 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APCR. Now, you will see a lot of people firing purely premium rounds from this vehicle, because it makes it a little bit easier to play, because the shell velocity, not just the penetration, but the shell velocity makes the gun handling a little bit nicer. But the other thing is, the gun handling on this vehicle is poor too. You have 0.34 accuracy at 100 meters with the build that I run, which is really not that good. You got 1.21 accuracy during rotation, with 2.76 accuracy during movement, which is awful. And that means that the gun aim circle blooms out a lot when you're turning the turret and when you are fully on the move. The aim circle blooms out massively. And you've got a 2.67 second aim time with the build that I run as well, which is very slow. Well, it is slow, which means you really feel that aim time. You've also got an 11.3 second reload, which is 2.3k DPM, which is also very, very low DPM, which can be pure pain for the Inferno. It's a very slow and considered tank. You've really got to put yourself in the right position where you're not going to get YOLO'd. You can go hull down, because the strength of the tank is hull down. It is a very good hull down tank. And then just keep slapping out these 440 alpha rounds. You do have 486 meters of view range as well, which means you can spot for yourself quite well in this vehicle. And with that 50 kilometer an hour top speed, you can get yourself to good positions. You do have 15.76 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you will get close to that 50 kilometers an hour top speed, but it does take a little bit of time to get up to it, or to work up to it, right? You do only have 130% silver earn rate in the Inferno Chimera, by the way, which is pretty low for a tier 8 premium tank, which means you don't actually make that good credits in this vehicle. So that's something else to consider, is that you don't really make that good a silver. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old Inferno? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, Rapid Aim, with Advanced Loader, Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to get the best view range I can, because otherwise you are a bit blind. The Gun Stabilizer to make the accuracy during movement and rotation as low as possible, because it is awful otherwise. It even is awful with it. The Advanced Load to get the best DPM I can, because it is very slow DPM. All 3 gun perks for the same reason, that you really want to get this gun as good as possible. And Rapid Aim, because the turret traverse is pretty slow, and I want to make it better than the track traverse, so I get it up to 29 degrees a second with that Rapid Aim, which is 1 degree a second faster than the 28 degrees a second hull rotation speed. Now, the Chimera also does have pretty decent hull armor. You can side scrape okay with this vehicle. You've just got to be careful of the cheeks on the side, as they can catch shots. But it's a pretty all-round, fairly well-armoured vehicle that can be quite nice to use. If you do get caught in the open, though, you will get butchered. It's just that the upper plate is kind of like the FV4202 in a way, that it's angled very, very well, so that you can get some very surprise bouncers at times off of the hull armor, which can be okay for the Inferno, but do not outright rely on it. What you want to rely on is going hull down and relying on the fantastic turret armor this vehicle adds, because this tank is different to the standard Chimera in the fact that that spaced armor on the turret is very good, because you've got 203 base armor on the turret, just like the Chimera, but then you've got a great big Chimera Lion's Mane, which is 50mm of spaced armor slapped on the front of it, which gives you a hefty amount of spaced armor and a hefty amount of turret armor on this vehicle, which means you just ricochet a lot of shots off it, which is glorious, as you've already seen in this replay. So we're up to 2.5k damage, just waiting on the reload to put a shot into this Tyrann, which we get up to 455 damage off of him. Nearly 3,000 damage now, 2k assist. I see this Mantis and I'm thinking, oh god, this guy could come after me. But you know what? We're going to go in and shut down the Tyrann. So we finish off the Tyrann, and now I know I'm probably going to die to this Mantis, hoping that my team might shut him down. But sadly, he does get the kill on us. But we do finish with the victory. 3 kills, 3.1k damage, 2k assistance, that's 5k combined in a tier 10 game. The first class with that 1782 base XP. Pretty damn nice game there for the Inferno in what was a pretty poor matchup for the vehicle. So now we're on to the 7th replay. And the 7th replay is now in the Asterion, which is basically for it's the new version of the Dread Dozer, but it's different to the Dread Dozer. So it does look fairly similar to the Raumpanzer, but it is a completely different tank, because it's not a medium tank, it's a heavy tank, and they've changed a lot of the aspects of the Asterion. The reason they brought the Asterion in is for the Halloween game mode, because of the fact that the Dread Dozer is a Hot Wheels licensed tank, and that tank will probably never come back, so they want to give the people the option to be able to use the ramming awakened ability that you can get in the Monster Mash mode with it. But to make it different, they decided to make it a heavy tank and change a lot of things. So one of the things that's changed on this vehicle is the fact that you have a 360 alpha gun, which has 218 penetration on the standard AP and 282 penetration on the premium APCR, which is very, very nice. The 282 penetration on that premium APCR is very, very good. 810 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP is slow, but the premium APCR velocity is 1,100 meters a second, which is absolutely fantastic. Well, it's not fantastic, but it's above average, and it's way better than the standard AP round, meaning that, again, it's one of those tanks that a lot of people will probably just spam the APCR. You have a 2.5 second aim time, which is fairly slow though, with a 1.6 accuracy during movement and a 0.82 accuracy during rotation with the build that I run, which isn't too bad. It means the gun doesn't aim bloom out too badly, and it don't feel the 2.5 second aim time too much at times. It can be fairly derpy though with the 0.32 accuracy that this tank can have. 9.48 second reload as well is 2.2k DPM, nearly 2.3k DPM, which is again very, very slow and is a bit of a pain point for the Asterion. It does have very good frontal armor though, and if you are pointed front onto people, this tank will bounce a lot of shots, which can be very nice for it. But it's one of those tanks that is very hit and miss in the fact that sometimes the armor works and sometimes the armor really just doesn't work, and it's pure pain. You do have the big tumor on top of the turret as well, which is the big machine gun port, which is only 200mm thick, which most tanks will be able to penetrate. But like I say, you are a very troll tank to shoot at, and if anyone is shooting at you, it means that they will probably try and go through the lower plate, but they'll hit the dozer blade and it will probably bounce. But if they shoot your cupola, that's where they'll penetrate you. Also, if you overturn as well, I say overturn, if you turn slightly and start to expose your drive wheel and stuff like that, that's where they start to be able to demolish your armor too. So what do I run in terms of recruit and equipment on the Asterion? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, Rapid Aim. The Advanced Loader, Gun Stabilizer with Optics. Optics to get 486 meters of view range in this vehicle so I can at least spot for myself. The Gun Stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation as good as it is. The Advanced Loader to make sure that its DPM is as good as possible. All 3 gun perks to make the gun really nice, again, with Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better because the turret traverse on this vehicle is very, very slow. The same as the hull rotation speed is also very, very slow. Now, because the accuracy during rotation and movement can get quite low with the gun stabilizer, you might decide, you know what, I'm going to make the gun handling worse, and I'm going to try and get the hull rotation better by running the traction system. You might want to run clutch braking instead of snapshot as well, to be able to get the track traverse better, because the track traverse is exceptionally slow on this vehicle, so it might be something you want to be able to make better, because it is a bit of a pain point, is the mobility of this vehicle. It is so slow. But apart from that, yeah, because you do have a 35 km/h top speed with 11 horsepower per ton ratio, which again means you do struggle up to that top speed a little bit. But as you saw with that game in the Asterion, when you are top tier, it can be pretty nice. The armor works pretty well. You do slap hard. It's just that it takes a long time to get the damage out. But we're up to 2 kills, 4,000 damage. That 1,500 block, the first class high caliber, the Confederate medal, with 1,637 basic speed. Pretty nice game there for the Asterion on a map that was perfect for it, which was Wide Park. And like I say, it is a pretty decent top tier heavy tank. But once you're going against tier 9s and 10s that have the really good penetration, again, it's where your armor really starts to fall down. And that's where the poor DPM and the slower mobility starts to really hurt it. But now we're on to the 8th and final replay of this video, which is the Pharaoh's Fury, which is the first Cold War Halloween tank that came out. And the Pharaoh's Fury is a pretty good tank. The one thing that was really frustrating for me when I reviewed it, and it still is really frustrating for me, is the fact that this gun decides when it wants to work. This gun is very, very derpy at times, and it goes, you know what, I just fancy missing all the shots you want to take. And that is really annoying. But other than that, it is a very nice tank. So you've got good mobility at 69 kilometers an hour. You've got 460 alpha, because you've got the same gun that you have on the MAGAC 5. Very similar to all the M60 type guns. But you have 494 penetration on the premium APF SDS. You got 426 penetration on the standard APF SDS, which is pretty damn good. And with both sets of penetration, that means you'll be able to go through pretty much every tank you're going to face in Era 2. You got 4.4k DPM, which is 6.27 second reload, which is really nice again. The armor on this vehicle is very hit and miss, in the fact that it is very good armor. But if anyone's got about 430 plus penetration, which there is a lot of tanks in Era 2 that have that, they will go through your upper plate or lower plate very, very easily. But if you don't have 400 plus penetration, you will bounce a lot on this vehicle. The armor on this vehicle then becomes very, very good. But what you want to do is shoot the cupolas on top of the turret, as they will be fairly easy to penetrate. But the accuracy at 100 meters on this vehicle is 0.26, which is good. The accuracy during rotation and movement is 0.85 and 1.77 with the build that I run, which is not that great, actually, for an Era 2 tank with having the build that we do, but it's still pretty good. Oh, that's the type of shot I'm on about right there. 1.93 second aim time is also pretty damn good on this Pharaoh's Fury 105mm gun. You do have 5 degrees of gun depression, which can be limiting in situations especially like this. But you do have very good HEP rounds, by the way, or HESH rounds, sorry. 250 penetration on the HESH rounds is absolutely delightful. It means that you can absolutely eviscerate light tanks with that. Let's say you have the 69 km/h top speed with the 21.25 horsepower per ton ratio as well on the Pharaoh's Fury, which means you get a very, very mobile, very good silver earning medium tank that's an independent tank in Era 2 if you pick the Pharaoh's Fury. It is a very, very nice tank to have for making silver and stuff like that. That's the frustration of this tank. Shots like that. We missed that shot on the M103, but a shot like that hits the FV4211, right? That's this gun in a nutshell. It's super frustrating. Super frustrating, but yeah. What do I run in terms of crew and equipment on the old Pharaoh's Fury? Well, on the Pharaoh's Fury, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, Clutch Braking, and Rapid Aim. Rapid Aim to get as good a turret traverse as possible, because the turret traverse is a little bit slow. The hull rotation speed gets faster to 47 degrees a second with the clutch braking. The advanced load to get the best DPM I can. The gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during rotation and movement as low as possible. And the advanced reload to make the most of all 3 types of rounds that this vehicle gets, because it gets very good HESH rounds, which I want to abuse. I can switch to the APCR rounds when I get against tanks like the 4211, and I don't have any penalty with reloading for doing that. And then all 3 gun perks again to make this gun as good as possible. But there's multiple different ways you can run the tank if you wanted to. It's down to you and how you feel comfortable playing a vehicle at the end of the day. But it is a pretty good pickup, this Pharaoh's Fury, for free out of the Urnop, because like I say, you will get a very good silver earner, and it's a pretty nice vehicle. Like I said, the only downside for me is the fact that the gun just decides, nah, I'm missing that shot. Sorry, mate, I don't want to do that. And it can be pretty frustrating for that. But as I say, for all of these vehicles that you've just seen, I will have an individual video coming out in the coming days to just go over and show you more gameplay for each of the picks. I just wanted to give you a general overview of the vehicle so that you could see it. And this Pharaoh's Fury is the last one in that video, in this video. And fair play to you if you're still here. By the way, I see the chance, I see the opportunity. Wow. Failure. We missed the opportunity to jump on that T-80B. But we finished the game with a fairly average total for the Pharaoh's Fury, which was the epic victory. 3 kills, 6.5k damage, 559 assistance. We made 150k silver for a fairly average game as well. The first class, 1372 base XP, a pretty decent game for the Pharaoh's Fury, which is a tank that you can pick up in the Monster Hunter Urnop. Same as all 8 of the vehicles that you can see. Service announcement, as always, you can only pick one of the tanks, and choose wisely. Make sure that you finish the op completely before picking a tank. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.